Hi, welcome to BGA Coffee Talk. These are weekly sessions where we give agents information on the field, new product updates, policy updates, and sales ideas to help grow their business. Now, this week we welcomed on Wendy Boyd. She's an old friend of the company, and now she's with Transamerica, heading up their life distribution. It's a great conversation. Transamerica is in a inflection point of change, hiring on a whole new management suite, and going through a lot of initiatives to revitalize and rebuild their company, and get back out to the brokerage space. It's a wonderful conversation. We talk about the 25 initiatives she started, the 12 that are still in progress. We talk about the different uh, segments of their sales operation, and the different markets they're trying to capture, mainly middle market. We talk about the final expense market and how it's a good example of their progress towards a new underwriting system. They're also moving towards a single app system so that you don't have to put in different apps if you're blending term and permanent, or different types of permanent products. We touch a little bit on their workplace product, their group life. That could be a possibility to domicile a product outside of a state that the long-term care writer might not be approved in, but might have a long-term care law coming up. And we talk about what success looks like with a lot of the revitalization they've got going on right now. Really dynamic conversation. And Wendy is just a pleasure to talk to, a pleasure to listen to. And you'll listen to me refer to her as a Ted Lasso type, with just the energy she brings and the desire to build culture. So it's a great episode, and I hope you enjoy. Wendy, thanks for joining us today.
You bet, Trent. It is my pleasure. Happy to be here.
Well, I know we touched on this before, and I delayed your answer. But what are you reeling from most right now? Nick Saban loss or March Madness?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I went to the Final Four and it was
You
absolutely
did.
heartbreaking. I did. It was an amazing trip, but it was heartbreaking for us to fight so hard and get there and then lose. And I guess in reality, Nick Saban's still here. He still has an office. I'm
Yeah.
in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I'm a block, 3 blocks away from the stadium. So I still get to have interaction with the school here and see Coach Saban. So it's kind of nice. So I would say the Final Four was heartbreaking,
Yeah.
but we're excited about next year. We love Nate Oates.
I mean, it's a small town. Do you still run into Nick Saban?
Oh, never, hardly at all.
Really?
No, not at all.
Surprises
I
me.
live like right near campus, and he lives over the river, we
Okay.
say. So,
The hoity-toity part of town?
oh, I will not disclose that one. No, not at all.
All right. Well, so we know you from the early days of BGA, and a lot of people have a lot of love for you from that time. Now, I know a certain element of the story of you guys hiding away in a hallway, trying to make sure that BGA could start without anyone knowing. But I want to get your side of that story.
Oh my gosh. To be completely transparent, Barry Zimmerman was my lifesaver. I was entering into an industry norm for my former company to build a business inside the business.
Hmm.
And Barry was one of the first people that I had the opportunity to be introduced to help me build what I call a startup. And we were at an industry leading meeting and thinking we could be like in private and have this, strategic conversation about how we could best grow our businesses together. And I mean, it was like we were on the public stage because so many people were passing by, but without fault, we were able to work together and collaborate together and grow our businesses together. And again, he was my lifesaver at the time when I really needed a win. I mean, I'm sure everybody's been in that situation before, right? Where you're getting no, 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 no. And then you get that win and it's like, okay, this can be done. We can do this. So it was a perfect opportunity to build not only, business strategies together, but a forever friendship. So that's my side of that story.
That's great to hear. And well, you had a lot of wins after that, growing up.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that business today is still thriving from what I understand. And I certainly have gained so much from that experience to carry on to the other companies that I've gone to and grown. So it was a great opportunity for me, one that I'm very proud of and would not trade for anything.
Well, that's a good lead in because you were in the brokerage side, you were working with a lot of BGAs, then went over to Lincoln and now in a much larger role at Trans. What are you bringing into this role from all those past experiences?
I think diversity is one thing that I bring to this role. I've led businesses in retail, I've led businesses in brokerage, and I have diversification, even prior to being in this industry. So diversity is one thing that I've brought, but one quality that I think stands out more than anything is the type of leader that I stand to be. And I believe in servant leadership. And you come into an organization and the first thing that you want to do is turn on your listening ears, right? Dr. Kevin Elko says it best. When you show up, be interested instead of interesting. And that is one thing that I think I bring to this organization specifically, in that, I lead currently a retail distribution arm, a brokerage arm, and now a career agency arm. And each of those distribution channels have different characteristics to go to market and the strategy to go to market. And our portfolio is a very different blend of portfolio to meet the demands of each of those channels. So the diversity, number one, and then of course, the leadership that I try to bring to an organization to serve first, not only to my team, but to my clients and to their clients.
Well, Trans definitely is a unique business model and has a lot going on and seems to be in a stage of transition right now, building new management team with people like yourself. So what about this flexion point, what's going on right now in Trans, entice you to join them?
Oh, wow. So there are two things that really brought me here. Number one, I knew our current CEO, Will Fuller, from my prior company. And when Will reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in coming over and building a culture, right? You're changing a culture, building upon a culture. I was enticed. I have an entrepreneurial spirit about myself, and anytime somebody says build, I get excited and transform, resurrect, and I feel like that's what we're doing here at Transamerica. I remember in 2010 when I was a client of Transamerica, and Transamerica had great product and great service and great technology and systems and capabilities for that day and time and that era. And now here we are in 2024, and we're rebuilding, we're restructuring, we're changing a culture, and we're going to market in a very underserved market. And that is really important to me. And then the second, well, Will's charisma is enough to entice anybody to be interested, right? But the second area, and I'm of course not giving financial advice here, but there aren't many insurance companies that have an opportunity for their stock to build over cumulatively over a period of time. And I'm very enticed by that opportunity. It's not a venture capitalist, it's a big organization and a large company that has so much room to see that value grow. So those were the two primary reasons that I came here. And now that I'm here, it's exciting because you're doing so many different things and you're involved in so many different things to rebuild and reignite a product for an industry that really has a lot of product already. So how are you going to diversify yourself and innovate yourself and recreate yourself for people to want to listen? And that is really exciting for me to be a part of. It's a movement. And I'm so proud of the fact that, like, I look at all three of our channels. Last year alone, we grew 13% year over year in an industry that might have had, what, 2-3% growth. And in every single channel, you saw growth, whether it was, our career channel, our brokerage channel even grew. And then, of course, our retail channel grew. So it's exciting. It's exciting to be a part of something that's moving in that direction.
Well, you have given me a lot to jump from in that question. So maybe I'll just focus on you first before we dive into what's happening with Transamerica. But maybe it's the accent. Maybe I can give you that. But I think talking about building a culture and getting some wins and revitalizing, you're giving me some Ted Lasso vibes. And I think there's a lot of people in the industry who have a lot of love for you. I know our office does, but I think it's industry wide. And was there some interest there from Trans of knowing the reach you had and the scope that you could talk to bring you in?
I think so, Trent. One thing Will said to me is, two sides of the business very well. The financial advisor side of the business, which is the retail side of the business that I worked in, and then brokerage well. I spent 10 years in the brokerage community. I spent 7 years in the financial advisor community, and I think that was an immediate opportunity for me to make an impact, and to capitalize upon those relationships. Like, I believe that how you show up, how you present. Now, there's 4 fundamental blocks of everything that I do, right? You're always learning. You've got to be competent in anything that you do. That's the first block. And the second block is you do what you say you're going to do. And I think that just builds a foundation of respect. And then you want credibility in that too, right? And so being able to get feedback is a gift. And I would say that over my career, I wasn't always as interested in feedback as much as I was interested in telling people what we should do. But, you grow. And as you grow, you learn that feedback is a gift. And the more you listen and engulf what people are saying, the more they will be interested to see what you have to say and what you might want to position and present. And the changes that we're making, just last year, we launched 25 different initiatives, including a new product, a new illustration software, a new IUL statement, a new this, a new that. We launched 25 different initiatives just in the life channel at Transamerica. And those initiatives were launched based upon feedback that we've gotten from any of our communities. And I think that is, again, those are the 4 fundamental blocks that I pay attention to in everything that I do, that I think has brought the opportunity to re-engage old relationships and ignite some of those new relationships that I didn't have exposure to, but because of the experience that I had and the groups that I had worked with previously, it kind of made the transition a little easier.
Yeah. Well,
and it did, ignite our opportunity to do some of those things that we're able to do.
Yeah. Well, you touched on experiencing Trans when they were far beyond everyone else, technology-wise, service-wise, and you talked about now launching new product lines to revitalize the company. So what was going on in the interim that needed to be changed, that needed a new management team, that needed fresh eyes to come and breathe new life back into the company?
Well, I think, again, I wasn't here, so I'm only going to speak from experience of what I've learned now that I'm at Transamerica. But the way that I view it, it's almost like for life distribution alone, and even our annuity distribution side of the business, it almost lay dormant for the last 7 years. We didn't advance technology. we didn't have great partnerships with like iPipe or, to really capitalize upon technology and integration of underwriting capabilities and streamlining some of the underwriting that we're launching now. It felt like it sat dormant. And as we came in and started looking at the overall organization and the things that we wanted to do to drive new results, you peel one layer back and you realize, oh my gosh, that layer was only halfway operated on. Now you've got to operate on the next layer. And then you peel that layer back and it's this layer. So it doesn't come easy to transform or to reignite what we're trying to build here. But just as an example, most other carriers are light years ahead with automated underwriting. And we brought Andy Viger in to lead all of our underwriting initiatives. And just this year, we're launching greater automated underwriting capabilities. We processed 350,000 applications last year that an underwriter had to touch every single one of them. We didn't place 350,000. We processed 350,000 applications.
Yeah.
We placed 217,000, but an underwriter had to touch every single one of those applications. So as we're rebuilding and automating, we're finding that our goal eventually is to have more than 60% of our applications that are never touched by an underwriter. Never. And just this, we're in pilot mode right now with this new automation. And so far we have almost 10% of those applications that are not being touched by an underwriter. So as we continue to respond to that, you'll see those statistics increase more and more over the next two to 3 years. Right. So that's just one example of what we're seeing here to transform an organization, right? It's not just about building a new product and launching a new product. It's about what are you doing behind the scenes to engage and better the experience. Whether it's a single sign-on application to our websites or processing an application by single sign-on, everything kind of starts behind the layers versus what you see externally that's going to the field. And I'm excited because I believe that, in the next 12 to 18 months, you will see a very new Transamerica. So we're just in the process of it getting to that point.
Yeah. Well, am I getting this number right that you said 25 initiatives going on right now?
We launched 25 different initiatives last year. Today, we have over a dozen active initiatives that are going to market. Whether it's, so right now we're piloting a very innovative final expense client experience where you can get at the table decisioning within 10 minutes from quote to application to place to issue to paid, right? In 10 minutes. That's very exciting. And that's in pilot right now. We're also in pilot of a single application that will offer duplication. So you don't have to have different applications. Then that's the automated underwriting process that I was mentioning earlier. So that's an initiative that's going on right now. We have another single sign-on initiative with our website for producers so that they don't have different portals to go to based upon the history of their business with Transamerica, and a client access portal that's going on right now that's in pilot. We also have upgrades to our IUL products that are going to launch in the fall with Insight. So many things that we're working on that are going to be exciting for producers, exciting for clients to see that Transamerica's back in this business real time.
So I think I know the answer to this, and it's probably a mix of both, but I want to hear your perspective on this. What's the unifying factor in a lot of these initiatives? Is it just catching up to the competition, or is there some overarching goal with this that you're trying to pace along?
Yeah, so Transamerica, let's see, in June of 2023, we met with market analysts, right? And our leadership team met with market analysts and explained Transamerica's go-to-market and where our concentration was going to sit. And what we've learned is that, there's over 100 million people who are underserved in being provided financial literacy, financial advice, life insurance. And so we want to serve what we're calling middle market, the underserved. And so our products are built to go to that market. We're not ignoring the affluent and the high net worth at all. We think there's a niche opportunity for us there. But when you can serve a mass underserved community and you have 3 distinctive distribution channels to help you get there, that was a critical factor for our story to our analyst. And we believe that that underserved community is solved well with life insurance. And so that was a second strength of Transamerica, was in life insurance. And then the third strength that we presented to analysts for that space is retirement planning, right? Whether that's through our workplace business side of the house, or whether it's through our annuity platform, but how you serve that community is really important. So everything that we do, everything that we're trying to accomplish in the initiatives that we're launching are taking those 3 factors to the front of the line as a priority. Is what is best to serve what we've said we're going to serve, not only for our shareholders, but for Americans and the mass number of people who don't get this financial literacy advice and our guidance to leverage the products and services that our industry has to serve them.
Right. Well,
that's where it starts.
There seems to be also in this strategy a recommitment to brokerage. And I've heard this story on our side that your multiple channels all help strengthen each other. So paint that picture for us. Where do you see our role coming in part of your strategy moving forward?
Well, a lot of times when I speak to the brokerage community, they're all wanting to capture more of the middle market business, right? And I think that if we can help brokerage get there and still serve the communities that they serve today, that is an advantage, right? I would say that at Transamerica, prior to the current leadership, decisions were made that negatively impacted brokerage specifically. And, the elephant in the room when I'm talking to our brokerage clients is what actions we took on cost of insurance, right? So earlier I talked about how things lie dormant for a while at Transamerica for many years. Well, while other carriers were actively looking at their books of business and adjusting cost of insurance or cap rates, Transamerica took no action, none. And then in 2021, they decided, oh wait, we've got to take factors into our hands on cost of insurance. And so they looked at this old block of business, by the way, that was mostly sold by the brokerage community. And they said, okay, over the next 2 years on one block of business, over the next 2 years, which we inherited as new leaders, we're going to raise cost of insurance on these products. And it negatively impacted the brokerage community, which has frankly left some open wounds and continually putting salt in those wounds with those announcements, right? If any one of us as leaders that are here today, whether it's myself, Andrew DeMarco, Andy Viger, Jamie Ohl, whomever, our decision may have been, no, do it one time. It's one block of business, one time. Don't string it out over 6 different events because you think a call center can't handle the volume.
Right.
It just made it look like we were consistently doing that. So my point being is that for brokerage specifically, we believe that we can heal those wounds. We believe that through time and proof of what we do, what we do what we say we're going to do, that we will regain the trust. And that will position Transamerica to be a trusted carrier within the brokerage community specifically that they have not experienced in the last 5 to 7 years.
Well, I think also there's a point that you touched on of just making Trans easier to work with, because if there's the increases in cost of insurance and they're hard to work with.
It just
Doesn't
couples
make
it,
sense.
right?
Yeah,
It's like, oh no, I don't even want to go there. They're too difficult to work with. I don't even know who to call. Like it's like
exactly.
we got to make it easier. As a matter of fact, I talked about single sign-on access. When
Mhm.
I first came here in brokerage alone, there were 9 different access points to come to our website. 9. So to be able to launch one access source and to see a better presence of, instead of a dot matrix illustration software, now you have My Life Illustrator, which is very slick and savvy,
Yeah.
and pleasurable to the client's eye.
Hmm.
It's just those little things that we could improve that will slowly but surely, our hope, re-engage the brokerage community to believe that we're here for a reason and we're committed to that reason.
Right.
And that is to regain the strength and positioning of Transamerica as a leading insurance provider.
And you're also streamlining the app process. I think there's some
Yes.
exciting news there that you have to share.
Yes. Yes, that's what I was mentioning earlier about the automation of the underwriting. We're launching this summer a single application and much more simplified. That's reflective questioning that can be controlled solely by the producer, or you could collaborate and send Part B to the prospective insured themselves and have them fill it out. I'm a control freak, so I'm going to control it all on my own. But it gives the flexibility to engage the customer differently. And then, of course, that opportunity to automate so that it should run through the system much faster versus having to be touched by so many different people at Transamerica, whether it's an underwriter to new business to case management to issue to print. So it streamlines the entire process. So we are very, very excited about that. And if you want to blend, you don't go to 2 different applications for a term and an IUL. It's all one application. So very, very excited for that launch coming this summer
It's going to be
to see a much improved experience in even how you access new business at Transamerica.
right. And so the combination of that and automating a lot of the underwriting, and you said you're at 10% now, and there's some ways to go to 60.
Yeah.
Once these are fully operational, how fast do you think the turnaround can be from quote to app to underwriting to bound?
Well, our goal is to improve the turnaround within 14 days, right? That's where you want to be as a business. We're not there right now. Some of our processes are. But as I mentioned earlier, the little innovation we're doing with the new final expense experience, we believe that just that experience alone could lead to other products, whether it's term, IUL, whatever we wanted to go to market. Now, granted, you might have different caps because you're automating it to at the table decisioning. But let's face it, if you look at the market that we highly concentrated in, right? Your average age is under 40 and your average face amount is about 325,000, right? So you can easily modify your underwriting guidelines, rules engines to get that business through the process much faster. And ultimately, that's our goal. Granted, some things are not going to fall through that system, right? Your $10 million policy or your $5 million or an executive bonus or a really complicated buy sale, that's going to need guidance and advice. But the majority of the streamlined business that we're moving through our processes meet that market intelligence that can get it through the system much faster.
So final expense, you've touched on that a few times. Where does this fit in that middle market strategy?
Yeah, this is my first time to be exposed to final expense. I had never worked in an insurance company or even in brokerage community where we sold a lot of final expense. So it's been very new to me to be a part of this, but it fits very nicely in the middle market space. Not everyone needs a $300,000 policy or $1 million or 5-10 million. So it really accommodates a mass market up to 50,000 to cover some of the things that you don't want to deal with, right? You know, we all want to get married perhaps and have a wedding planner, right? But nobody really wants to plan for a funeral.
Right.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, we are planning for that funeral. So why not have a product that makes it easy for those who have to face that very sad moment to do the business? So, you know, we're aligning with a concierge servicing group that specializes in funeral planning. That's going to be tied to our final expense product. So when you do ultimately have to face that day of a loved one leaving us, you have comfort in knowing there's somebody else that will take care of that planning for you and advance the monies because of the death benefit to care for that, not waiting, you know, weeks or days or months to have to prove of the death to get some funding for that unlikely or unfortunate event. To celebrate someone's life, you can celebrate it differently with someone else taking care of that discomfort that you might have had trouble doing on your own because of the grief. Or so we're very excited about being in this space, and we do think that it serves a very large mass group of individuals. And I think our producers will be excited about it as well. It's marketed well, it's at the table decisioning, and the compensation on it is really strong, really strong.
I mean, you and I just talked about it briefly in our pre-conversation, and it was news to me. And I'm the more I'm hearing about it, the more I'm thinking about it, the more excited I am, because there's a few things you don't want to be good at in life, like long-term care planning, how to get that taken care of, planning funerals. There's just things you don't want to be good at. And if you have a concierge service built in, that's so much stress taken off the individual.
Right?
Yeah.
Relieve the pain. Yes.
So
we're excited.
You also have a unique look with activity points that I find interesting. Can you explain how this works?
Well, you know, we all have things that we do to help us live an active lifestyle, right? Whether it's gardening, running, going to the gym, walking, whatever the case may be. But we believe those activity points deserve crediting, right? So if we can capitalize upon activities that can provide a better rate and or premium for the client, then let's capitalize upon that. So we're going to continue to look at those aspects of our underwriting guidelines, and part of the reflective questioning that we're engaged with in the new application process permits us to do that as well. You know, give people credit for the things that they actively are involved in and the things that they are doing, so that they can experience something of an advantage for the things that they are doing in their lifestyle. So I think you'll see more of that from not just Transamerica, you know, other carriers too, because it does make a difference in your mortality or your morbidity, and capitalize upon it.
So
as an individual.
a optimistic look at Transamerica's future, that there's going to be some longevity points coming along in further products?
We certainly think that we can capitalize upon that with other products. I'm not a product developer, and I'm not the chief underwriter, but you know, what does it they say? I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and they have taken me through an actuarial boot camp, but no. I would just say, I think that there's so many opportunities for us to continue to look at that down the road for other products, that we're not going to limit it to just one thing.
Well, another exciting piece of your portfolio that we had somebody come in and speak to us about, and I believe immediately sold it within the week, was your group life product. Talk to me about how that fits in the marketplace.
Well, okay, so that's on our workplace side of the business. So I'm not directly distributing that product. However, as I mentioned to you earlier, with our emphasis on the mass market and middle market individuals, it's very important to serve the business community, right? Because the business community, whether it's a small business or a large business, they're employing the masses of our communities, right? That product is a very strong product. It serves very well for business owners to consider so that their employees can have benefit. But it is a unique product, and it serves our priority that I mentioned to you earlier in our conversation about how we want to go to market and the individuals that we want to serve. So we're excited about it. I'm very happy to be part of an organization that wants to play in that space. It takes me back to my days when I worked for ADP and sold all those products to small business owners that, frankly, they can't get on their own, right? They need an outlet to be able to do that. And, you know, our country is built upon entrepreneurs of small businesses. So we're excited to be in that space without a question. And it is a good product, and it does serve well in that business community.
Yeah, and especially since I think the last number I saw was half of all insureds are only getting it through their work. Now you can have an optional benefit to add on to that and increase that amount.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Without a question.
And there's some unique ways to domicile it as well. That could be an answer for some upcoming long-term care laws. Are you able to?
With all the states that are, I think Washington was first to do it, right? The state of Washington to, allow a tax credit, so to speak, if you prove and show that you have long-term care. I think many states are advocating along the same lines. And so we do need to serve for that purpose. Our products do also have, our life individual products also have a long-term care rider, but I'm not sure that that's going to serve for every state, right? But we do want to be able to provide for what regulations are mandating in certain markets. And I also believe that other states can look at what Washington did and learn from that experience and maybe collaborate more with the industry to assure that, we're providing the right products to prove the cause that they are trying to accomplish. But yes, I think Transamerica will absolutely continue to be in that space. I don't know that you'll see a standalone long-term care product, like the old days, but
that's probably
potentially
good.
Yeah, potentially other things that we might be able to do.
Great. Well, I skipped over this question earlier, and I think it deserves to be brought up because I think giving a name to this is powerful. You're running an initiative called Project Revitalize, and we've touched a lot on the initiatives you're running, but what is the scope of this, and what can we expect to see 5 years down the line with this initiative?
Thank you, Trent, for bringing that up. Project Revitalize is critical to us. As I mentioned at Capital Markets Day, Will Fuller, our CEO, he also spoke about some of the challenges that we've had as an organization in servicing our producers, our agencies, and of course, ultimately the client. Transamerica made a decision many years ago to outsource many factors of their business, including some of the critical factors of the business. And it was outsourced to a unit that frankly had dozens and dozens of 800 numbers, but no real live tie to Transamerica, right? And so we announced in June of 2023 that we would no longer outsource the critical factors of our business. So new business is critical to us. Some aspects of in-force critical to us. How we compensate, who we pay, critical to us. Licensing, contracting, critical to us. Those critical aspects of our business will now be Transamerica employees. And Project Revitalize was born as a result of that announcement. So we are in the process today of bringing back and choosing the right outsource partners, right, for some components of the business. But we are bringing back over 700 employees to Transamerica So they will be Transamerica employees with a transamerica.com email address that are committed and bought in to what Transamerica is accomplishing and what we're trying to accomplish for this industry and for Americans, right? To better serve the communities that we sit in. And Project Revitalize is an 18-month initiative. It's going to take time, and it's going to take time for people to see that initiative come to birth. Because think about the training. There's probably hours of training to even just explain one product, much less 5 different products, right? Or the history of products that were in the pipeline previously. So the training aspect and development of those individuals will take a while before people will actually, feel 100% of the impact of what Project Revitalize is not only going to mean to our organization, but our brand and how the producers and the agencies experience the new Transamerica that we're launching. So it's exciting. It's a rebirth, and it's an opportunity for us to really show this industry that we mean business and that we're back. I mean, ultimately, we want to be in the top 5 of LIMRA stats, right? We embarked upon number 10 this past year with the growth that we experienced. The next step with all of these initiatives and Project Revitalize is for us to get in that top 5 category.
So that's a good lead in for my final question for you. We've talked about a dozen initiatives in process, new product lines, updates to product lines, a recommitment to brokerage. You've got a lot on your plate. You've got a lot going on to revitalize Transamerica. What does success look like for you guys? What can we hope to see coming down the line from Transamerica?
Success is going to look like a couple of different things, right? I mean, clearly for me, the success is to win back opportunities and to continue to grow and ignite new opportunities. That's success. And the way that I measure that is I look at every respective channel. And if I see growth in each of those channels, whether it's 16% here, 9%, 8%, that growth is success for us, period, without pause. The other aspects of our success will be that we actually launch these initiatives without fail, right? So how we go to market and how we prioritize is a fundamental block of our ability to be successful. If you go to market with the wrong experience or flaws in the experience, it's not a positive move. It's not successful. So therefore, you can't ream yourself successful at it. So we're very methodical about how we prioritize our initiatives and what comes first to what comes second. And those successes will resonate in how our numbers grow, right? And then the third thing that, for me personally, to be successful here at Transamerica is for us to live up to what we say we're going to do. Trent, if you and I were to speak 12 months from now, that everything that we talked about came to fruition, right? That your experience was better, that our commitment to brokerage was proven. We didn't pull anything over your eyes or cut corners. That would be success to me, right? That I come out January 1st of 2024. When I leave December 31st, 2024, I've learned something new. I've shown up. I've brought something new to every relationship that I've touched. And the organization as a whole has ignited a new foundation and a proof of where we're going to market in every respective channel that we serve. That is success. It doesn't have to be success of a new product, right? It can be success in just doing what we say we're going to do and showing that this experience that you have in working with Transamerica is new, it's different, and we're proving it. That's what success will look like. And then I will say, hey, success for me is like $566 million in life insurance premium, but let's just make it 600 million in life insurance premium on to 700 million in life insurance
Right.
premium and being in the top 5 of Limmer stats. So that ultimately on the road is where I hope that we shine the most in
Well,
the people that we serve.
I look forward to speaking to you in 12 months and doing this again and doing a check.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Seeing a whole new Transamerica. I'm excited. There's a
Well,
lot
thank
of
you,
stuff
Trent.
coming out.
Well, it's such a wonderful opportunity to be able to speak to you and to be a part of this podcast and just share what we're doing. I'm getting this story across and out there. Now let's just live up to it, right? Let's just live up to the story.
Yeah.
I'll share with you too. I think being in this business is, for me as a female, is first and foremost a differentiator, right? You don't see a lot of females in this business, and I want to ignite an interest in other women to consider this business, this industry. The financial services industry is an outstanding opportunity for anyone, but wow, what a differentiator for females to consider this industry. And that is really important to me too. So to be able to stand on this platform with you and speak about Transamerica means a lot to me. But more importantly, I hope that my story and the interest that I have in this industry alone will ignite interest of other women. So come join us.
Yeah.
We got a lot to prove.
Maybe we need something else before 12 months, because I know you have some competitors and friendly competitors who are doing initiative around women in financial services.
Yes.
And it'd be probably a good idea for us to do a roundtable with a lot of you. And
that would be wonderful. Like, the Budweiser hot seat, so to speak. Let's
Yeah.
do that. Let's have it. Let's make it happen.
I love
So-
it. Well, stay tuned for that, everyone who's watching, because I think we just found one of our guests for that roundtable. And follow, like, and subscribe for more of these. The more you participate, the more we can twist Wendy's arm to come back a second and third time for different topics even. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week.